And it's over. See ya. Peace out.
Alright, so the first thing that I want to do, I generated some spot elevations just where the steps are going to be. But what I want to do is be able to generate spot elevations for all these contours. So in order to do that, I'm going to create edge through a circle on my spot elevations layer, and I'm going to make that into a block, and I'm going to call it just S, and boom, say okay. I'll just redefine the block. It's fine. So now I'm going to load, I'm going to do an app load and load a Lisp that I purchased, like $5, but well worth it. I'm going to load, and this, well, let me go to, I'm already there in my library, I'm on my Lisp, so I go to it, load, successfully loaded, so cool. So now it's working. So I'm just going to move this spot elevation out of the way. And this thing has been working kind of, it's so much faster than doing it manually. It allows me to do a multiple measure. So theoretically you should be able to select all the lines. And I want to get the ones that I have up right here. There. And enter. And I want to specify my distance. So I want to make that 10. And then the block that I want to use is this. And yeah. So Lisp is not perfect, but again, I find that doing it in batches still is much faster. Do that. Distance 10, block again, and there we go. So I'm quickly going to add, what I'm doing is I'm having that block flow along these polylines, which are set at a specific elevation. Distance and block again. Just grab the block. There we are. Let's get rid of you now. So I'll keep you there. Measure. Some of these are still not grabbing. So what is going on here? What is going on? Craziness. Alright. Well, let's see what happens. I don't know. This server is kind of funky. Alright. That. Try that. And we'll see distance 10. B for the block. I want to select one of these guys, the big ones. Okay, that was a good one. And again, I need these to flow along so I can generate contours from points to allow me to specify the important spot elevations, like along the steps, for instance, that are very specific. But I can't generate them, at least to my knowledge. I don't know how to generate them in SketchUp just with the contour line. So I need to generate a point cloud basically, in order to generate a really accurate terrain mesh. Alright, so okay. And this one's 10, and B for the block, and that's going to be this guy here. Boom. So that everybody in the pool. Let's do you. It's this, no, it's D for the block, and whatever. Blam. Let's get you. Boom. Cool beans. I think you'll generate your cool. Alright, that's pretty good for this last one. Okay. Alright, so that's cool. So now that I have that, I'm in good shape and I'm ready to generate a terrain mesh in SketchUp with a few other plugins. Again, in order to initiate that command, I purchased a Lisp, which is it's a script somebody's created basically to enact a function within the application that is not native. So I bought this one for $5. Probably can create it yourself if you did enough research. I'm lazy, so I just bought it, and it allowed me to do this quickly. If not, this would take some time and be very tedious. But I have this done now, so I want to do a lay ISO. Oh, not lay ISO. Let me do a lay on rather. And then I just want to lay freeze that information, and I'll bring over everything else just to whatever. I'll just turn everything else off when I need to. Now, one thing it's doing too is it's generating, and maybe I'm not paying attention to the command line, but it's generating these groups, which I'm not really select similar. Let me see if I can do like a mass ungroup. That's there. I'd rather have them ungrouped, so I mean, not a huge deal. I'm not sure that it even matters, but let's find out. So I'm gonna do a W block. Okay, I'm gonna just put this on my desktop. I'll call it new block, whatever. All right, and I'm just gonna save that progress so I have it, and just no. I just want SketchUp to run as smoothly as possible. And I'm gonna go. I got 2 SketchUps on this thing now. I need to fix that hopefully today. Okay, so I'm running 2017. Let me just do it here. Nah, I don't need that little, so that's okay. We're gonna just do this from scratch. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go File, and I'm going to import. AutoCAD should be selected, new block. All that good stuff comes in, and I'm just going to put this in orthographic projections, do zoom extents. Okay, I can see my nice points, and great. So what I want to do is go into one of these things first, because sometimes they tend to act funny and disappear, and I'm just going to give it a face. And then I'm going to reverse it just to keep it clean. I'm gonna add a color. Bam. Okay, let me just get that done. Control save. Call this untitled and save it on my desktop. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Tiny ones there. Maybe those as well. Same thing. Bam. Reverse the faces just so we have something there. I might even offset that a little bit so it's a little bit bigger. Yeah. Alright, so I have my spot elevations, and that's what I need. Now there's some plugins that you're going to need in order to generate a terrain mesh from that. But before we do that, let me put some of this jammy on. Tilt this bad boy. See, stuff is kind of disappearing. It does that. I don't know, and I'm not sure why it does that. It's like kind of this weird thing. So sometimes making this, a little bit bigger helps, but those dots should have been big enough. Huh? What's going on with that? Okay, so let me do that. Maybe we can see them. No. Still, it's a mystery. And it might be because of the distance away from the z-axis, and we can fix that. But this again is going to give you, because it's 700 feet up, so that's why it's that high. We can take and modify that and kind of pull everything down to make this a little bit easier. But if you make any changes to elevations, you have to generate a completely new mesh, and it's hard. But for the sake of doing this, and hopefully to make it easier just to read everything, I'm just going to bring my spot elevations down a little bit. Okay. Maybe we can see it. Yeah, it's better. Okay, much better. See everything. So now what I want to do is just grab the rest of the information here, and I'm going to group it, and I'm going to put that information on flat work and turn flat work off. Okay. Now I'm just gonna draw a rectangle. I'm just gonna draw this face out, and again I'm gonna reverse the face and make a group. Okay. Now I want to use a command that is going to create a point in the middle of my geometries here. So I select everything, and that tool is going to be called, what is that tool? It's a good question. It's Guide Tools. And I'm going to create a C point at insertion point. So when you do that, you see that all these points are then like immediately established. Boom. So then I can go in and actually kind of delete those faces, and I have my points that are floating there, which is what I want. Same thing for this, and kind of go in there and just got my points. I have these nice points that are floating now. So now the next step, and actually let me move this and just kind of make it sure it's actually below it. Made two. All right, and then just so that, ooh, we got an issue there. What happened with that? So let me go back before I make those changes. Before I shift this thing down, I just want to make sure it's done cleanly. Huh. Weirdness. Let me just do a mass selection like that here. Kind of bring it down. So you can see them. Let me save that. So to make sure we grab all those points, because I want to have a pretty accurate, well, I want to have not pretty, I want to have an accurate mesh. That's why I'm doing this. So, make it black. I guess I did that with the little tiny ones too. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So again, let me just grab all this and group it and put it on flat work really quickly. Alright, and I'm on 0 still. And let me just grab a mesh. Make it a group. Looks good to me. Oops. Okay, and let me just change my shadows, use some for shading. Let me just actually make this green too, or something that we can actually see. Just try like a green color on so that I can see. Okay. So now what I want to do is, green is like screaming at me. Hold on, let me fix that. Yeah, better. I want to use that command to again generate extensions, guide tools, and insertion points. And I really just want to go in here and just, I don't need that other geometry anymore. And looks like we got a tree in there. I don't need that. Tree's kind of tripping me out, I'm not sure. Now let me put it on the right layer before I forget about it. I don't know what happened there. That's going to be on, I don't know, tree large or whatever. Okay. All right. So I have all my points now, and now what I want to do is I want to drop those points. So I want to grab all that information, and there's another command or another extension called ray trace you need to get, and then you want to drop C points trace. And what it's going to do, it's going to create a trace line and connect the point and intersect with the base that we've created, or it should. Let me explode these. I believe you need to explode these. Alright, so now ray tracer and then C points. Okay, there we go. So now it's kicked up these C points, so almost there. Another extension, again this thing is extension heavy, it's kind of what it is. Looks good. I'm just making sure it's making sense. Okay. It's kind of cool because you kind of begin to see, you know, the depression. Right there, I see it stepping. It's gradual. What about my steps though? Yeah, you see how clean that is right there? Clean, clean, that's what you want. Okay, so now here's the magic. So now I'll grab these geometries here and I'll group them. And I'm gonna go to Topo Shaper, and I wanted to generate terrain from cloud points with triangular mesh. So I'm gonna grab that, and I'm gonna have it convex hull is fine. Roundness, you can control the look and kind of, I guess, the roundness or smoothing and triangulation of the mesh that it creates. And I want to generate a skirt. You can also set contours, but we're gonna use, I have another plugin to do that, but you can actually generate contours from this. And you can, well, let's just do it here. You can set the interval. I'm gonna do mine at 1 foot and say okay. And so, yeah, and I want to generate a skirt, yeah. And then just enter. It'll go through and do its magic. You kind of see the triangulation now. It's triangulated, so it's not. We're gonna create a quad mesh in a second, but that's cool. That's what I want. That should be done. All right. So there we have the terrain that's been created. Now this terrain we can work with, and we can model from, and if this is a finished model and we've set our spot elevations correctly, it should reflect exactly what we want, which is really, really nice. The stairs are looking funky though now. What happened to my stairs? Yeah, I could have interpreted that a little bit cleaner. So now what's happening is, what's happening there? It's jumping. Just based on the contours, it looks like it's the spots. It's not giving me really smooth contours. It's kind of funky, obviously. But there should have been straight. That's really clean. I see that. just try to triangulate my path straight. Is it flat? Flat. Down there, though, you are not flat. No, no. Huh. So apparently these contours, I don't know what I did there, funky. Wow, I wonder why it's pulling like that. That did not work right there. Why? Why are you not working with this? It's those two that are pulling. It's creating this swell, it's pulling in. Because I could stand to add a lot more across this band. Could get it to generate. That came pretty smooth though. But this one was nice and straight too, and it helped it and assisted it, and it still didn't pull on this side. It should have pulled in. And again, those are just the contours. Where are the contours? So if I click on this thing, I can actually, oops. Let me delete those for now. So that's nice and flat. That is not flat. That's funky. At any rate, it gives you a nice start in this one. I have to play up the spot elevations in AutoCAD to kind of refine that, and I don't know, maybe something funky is going on the other end. The top is at least working for the most part. See that nice straight piece. I can put that path on that step, and it should be pretty level right there. Boom, right there, clean. All that's going to be cut out anyway. It's going to be retained on this side. Yeah, but that shouldn't be popping up like that. That needs to be smoothed out. Okay. Well, before I delete those contours, let me show you what this thing can do. So let me just cut these contours out, and I'm going to edit and paste in place. Okay. Well, before I do that, let me put this on a layer. Call it 0. Call it terrain mesh 1. Terrain mesh 1. So let me get rid of terrain mesh 1 for now. And let me get rid of my, oops, let me put all that on spot elevation. Put that on spot elevation. Get rid of those guys. And really, you don't need these bottom spots, so I'll get rid of those. Okay. So now let me edit and paste in place. So I got my contours. So now I can grab from my contours. Could go in there and kind of clean some of these things up too, like the funkiness that kind of occurred. But I'll just let it ride, and then we'll try to run the smooth tool just to demonstrate what's going on. That's really bothering me though. I do want to fix that. So in these instances, I'm just going to try to just, connect these lines, because I see that that's a mess. Even if it's just like that, that can't pop up like that. It's silly. That's nice. And even that really is kind of funky. I prefer that to be a straight line. Put my spots again so I can see. Yeah, but it's just that line going across there. So that would have been my preference for that. That's pretty good for that. That give me a nice straight line I can end on. This is kind of funky here. So, I might just end it on one side like that. I don't need the face. I kind of did that like that. Just kind of looking for, there's tons of imperfections, obviously. We're going to use a smooth tool, but some of these things just don't need to be there. I don't mind that. That's happening. What is going on with this funkiness, though? Yeah, like that probably doesn't need to be there. It's a huge dip down. Where is that? Yeah, that's a big dip. I don't believe it. So I'm gonna get rid of that. These little guys, I don't need that. Just kind of grade that out. I'll leave that one. I'll leave that one. Okay, everything else looks pretty. What's going on there? Yeah, it's not good. Let's just do that. Okay, so I kind of have this thing now. I'll save this. That's a good idea. And then I'm going to grab it. It should be on it in a group. And then I'm going to use the topo shaper again, but now I'm going to say generate terrain from ISO contours with quad mesh. So it's going to run, it's going to do its thing, it's going to cleanse. Again, there's parameters here. I typically just run right through, to be completely honest. Yeah, I don't want them flattened. I do want them round. I do pay attention to that. And yep, it looks good to me. Position. It's dropping the skirt all the way to the base. I'm not sure how you control that. Include skirt, exclude skirt. How do I generate skirt distance? Top of the terrain. Include. Oh, you can generate again the contours. I don't need that. A contour map, which is nice. Now this is a very good element. You can actually include and exclude a 2D contour map. I mean, I'll just generate that too. I don't need that. No, the skirt's nice to have. And then I'll just generate and click to exit, and there we go. Now what's nice about this, I don't need that anymore. I do need to go in here and make some changes though. I get into this base and just, it's too big. And just shrink it up some. That's cool. So I kind of have a nice base. What else do I have going on? So, whoops. I'm gonna call it, let me create a new layer and hopefully this will help clear things up. So this is quad. Okay, put it on terrain mesh 2 quad. Okay, and then these should just be the contours. Okay, and then I'll just put those on a contours layer. Foot. Yeah. Put those on contours on foot. Quad mesh 2 back on. And okay. All right, so I have my contours. I guess I depressed it the wrong direction, but anyway, you can also generate flat contours which you can export to AutoCAD, but it's flat, so I don't know why you want to do that, but it does give you a flat projection that you can play with. But anyway, the terrain meshes look very similar. However, if I go and view hidden geometry, see that this is nice and evenly divided, subdivided in its quad meshes as opposed to the unruly triangulation of the previous one. So if I turn this one off and turn that one back on, you can see the same deformation, you know, but this is triangulated where this one is not nice and clean even. So we can sculpt and play with this with Artesian and do some pretty cool things. So some of those things, let me turn off geometries. I'm just going to actually explode this. And the skirt should be in a block, so that's nice. So I'm going to grab this tools. I'm going to go to my Artesian, and I'm going to go to pre-selection, and I want edges and vertices. I also want to go to settings. Auto smooth is on for me, so that's cool. And then I just want to actually I want a smooth selection, just smooth it a couple times. And it's going to kind of get rid of just uneven areas that, you know, where the contours might have been just drawn funky, and clean some of that up for me. Cool. Again, let me just pull this over because I like this mesh, but view hidden geometry. If I pull this over, let me just show you what you can do. But now that I have this, say you can paint your actual picture. If I had an image of the site here, for instance, you could drop that in and actually begin to play and sculpt if you had that. But let me kind of show you what I mean. I can go to again to tools, Artesian, pre-selection, and then edges and vertices, and I can go to my sculpt tool now and just trying to get the feel for what's going on. There's the left side right there. Okay. And what I can do is begin just to, you know, kind of sculpt and play with landforms like clay. It doesn't have to be as severe and strong, you know, but you can begin to kind of to play with these landforms. And if I go view hidden geometry, it makes it a little bit easier to see, you know, what you're kind of doing. So you're kind of playing almost like in a sandbox with these forms. And I can kind of create this big berm. Running along. Now I'm not, and the beauty about this is it's more, I'm not really looking at contours and drawing, I'm not drawing 2D contours. I'm like, in a way, sculpting and playing with the land. You actually kind of get a feel for it the more you do it. Kind of build these really cool forms. Then I can go the opposite way too, and I can make this thing bigger and like depress pieces of this. Maybe that's too severe. Come up a little bit. Flatten it back out. Maybe I come back down and it's just more subtle. Kind of flatten these pieces out here. Like creating this cup. It needs to come down more here. Again, you're just carving and kind of playing. And it has almost like the consistency of like, a sandbox. But much cleaner and kind of easier to control in a way. So then the water can kind of flow. Anyway, you can kind of play and shape with these things and come up with all types of cool things. And then what's really interesting about this is kind of a different workflow. Is that once you kind of have these forms shaped and you're kind of, again, you're eyeballing these things, I can turn off my hidden geometries, and then I just want to make that a nice group. And there's other extensions where I can just instantly generate contours from like 1 foot, to show me what I just created. Again, these need to be cleaned a little bit. I can go back and smooth my selection to get my contours to become even smoother. Then I can always take these and refine them, but quickly, I don't know how long it would take to have drawn that, but and how much fun it would have been. But you can quickly begin to create these landforms in play and generate these contours and these forms that you can kick back and really create construction documents from. So a quick way of kind of testing things and playing with designs and going back and forth to kind of testing things. And you can see the difference if I come over here and group this and I run the same tool, my contours, 1 foot. Dramatic difference in the landform. Some of the stuff smoother. I need to obviously go back and fix some of my things, but huge difference in what we just created just by playing with the artesian tool. To play with the land and shape it, right? So really, really, really powerful. So that is how you do that, and then from there you can go in and texture these things and draw your, bring in your buildings and everything else that you need to do. Yeah. Any questions? Let me know. I hope this was helpful.